So hey, now is the time where we do a message. So let me give you the quick overview for if anybody's new. We got some new people here, which is awesome with the high school group, which is truly amazing. So what we do is, what's going to happen on a typical week is you're going to go do what you did in Cana Hall, except for you're not going to probably always do name games and stuff. We might for the first couple weeks just to get you knowing new people and hanging out and being together, but sometimes it's just going to be like going and hanging and just building connections and not like having like, oh, we're doing name games. So it's just going to be a little bit more laid back than it may have seemed right there. But then you're going to come back in here and we're going to do a message together. Sometimes that's going to be me. Sometimes it's going to be one of the other leaders. Sometimes it's maybe going to be a guest speaker we bring in to talk and to share their insight into a particular topic or subject or something. It's just an opportunity to dive deeper together into God's Word and learn a little bit more about Him. And tonight we're talking all about invitation and inviting. So, with all that being said, after this, you're going to break into small groups and you're going to do some small group time, hanging out, being together in smaller groups where you get to know each other even more intimately, more in depth, which is really cool. That is probably by far my favorite time of the night, the small groups. And then this is probably my second favorite time to be able to share some insights about Jesus, because I love Jesus and it's cool to do that. So if you could bow your heads and pray with me, that would be awesome. Dear Jesus, thanks for tonight. Thanks for this amazing group of students and their heart to be here, God. I pray that you are a part of this message. I pray that you remove me completely, God, from this message, that this be your words, your truth for your people, God. I pray for each and every one of these students and leaders, God, that you are just working in their lives, that they can be closer to you, Jesus. We love you so much. And all God's people said, amen. So I mentioned it in the opening, but our four main goals that we want you to do is to know God, find freedom, discover what your purpose is, and then to go and make a difference. And tonight we are talking about invitations. And it's amazing to me the power that a word contains. One single word can contain a lot of power. And it's amazing, even one letter can contain a ton of power. Because you switch one letter out with something in a word, you switch one letter, and it can completely change the entire structure of the word. It can completely change the entire meaning of the word just because of one letter. Here's some examples. You take grave, Grave, and you change the V to a C, and you get grace. Well done. You get grace. Completely different meaning, completely different word, okay? You take stole, like you stole something, and you change it to a V, and you get stove. Or you have a stove. Very different, one letter difference, okay? You take a book and you change it, the K to a B, and you get a K to a T, you get boot. Or if you change it to a B, you get boob, okay? Let's just be real, that's what it is. Those are the way the English words work, okay? One letter changes the entire meaning. You take an accent, an accent, whatever that is, and you change it, and you have to accept. You take coal and you can take it and make it to coax someone. You take around and you change it to make it ground. You take sea, you're sailing on the open sea, and you change it and all of a sudden there's sex. You take bark and all of a sudden now it is dark. You take gum and you change it and it's rum. You take mayor and it's major. You take, this one's my favorite. You take a bunch of beautiful faces, but if you're not careful and you type it into your phone wrong, you might say all of the beautiful feces. My phone might my phone might do that, right? One little letter can completely change the entire meaning or structure of the word. And here's a couple other words. That's going to be a bummer. Thomas, can you go and hit the next button? That'd be awesome. Thank you. Here's another couple words. It's get and got. Get and got. What is the difference? It may seem as though they're the same word, to get something or to got something, but they are very different, and I believe they are mindsets, okay? Your mindset is one of these two mindsets for just about everything in your life. You either get to do it or you got to do it, okay? You get to or you got to. And our mindset is really, really powerful. The way that we think about what we do in life is really, really powerful and can be really, really change our entire person just because of one little letter, an E to an O, or vice versa. So got to. What does got to mean? Got to has this feeling of like you are forced to do it. I got to do it. I have to do it. It is something where you don't really have a choice. It is just, this is what you got to do. You got to pay your taxes. You got to do your homework or you're going to fail. You got to do your chores or you're going to get grounded. You got to. It is like this feeling of I don't have a choice. It's mandated. It is like this is what you have to do. And get to has like more of a freedom, like, oh, I get to go on vacation. I get to eat a bowl of ice cream. I get to eat a Tootsie Roll. It comes with this like whole feeling, this whole mindset of freedom, of choice, of doing it because it's your desire instead of because you have to do it. Get to versus got to. So I'm going to read a couple sentences, and I want to hear if you think they, for you, are a get to or a got to thing, okay? Going on a vacation. Is that a get to go on vacation, or are you like, oh, I got to go on a vacation? Get to or got to? What do you think? Get to, a got to. Interesting. A little bit in between, a little bit of both, depending on the who or where you're going. Here's another one. Doing your homework. Got to for the most part. Going to the dentist. Got to, get to. Interesting. I got to go to the dentist. Eating a candy bar. Get to. Watching a movie. Get to. Depending on the movie. If it's Star Wars, you get to. If it's something stupid, to. Visiting your best friend. Get to. Eating vegetables. Got to or get to, a little bit of both. Going to the dance with your crush. Get to. If you said got to, you're lying. Coming to Ignite. Get to. Wow. I'm actually impressed. Get to. Maybe it's got to. And then the last one is inviting your friends to come to Ignite. Got to? Get to? Got to? My hope is that by the end of this year, if you said got to for coming to Ignite, my hope is that you get to a point where you're excited to come. My hope is that you're excited to invite your friends to come here on Wednesdays to be a part of an amazing community of people who love and care about them. And tonight we're focusing on invites because we get to do that. So it's really weird if you kind of switch your mindset. If you live a life where you got to do something, if you live your life of, I got to go on vacation. Most of you said, I get to go on vacation. If you go like, man, I got to go on vacation. I just got to do it again. Like, this is just the worst. I hate going on vacation. I got to go on another one to Hawaii. It's just like, it doesn't make sense. If you're like, oh man, I get to eat my favorite candy or my favorite ice cream, I gotta do it or something bad's gonna happen. Oh my goodness, this is terrible. Like, it doesn't make sense because it's things, our mindset is we are excited to do the things that we love. And just in the reverse, if there's things that we don't like doing, like homework, or going to the dentist, going to the doctor, or eating your vegetables, or whatever it might be, if you change your mindset, if the way that you think about things changes, your entire life can be different. So could you imagine if you had a mindset that you get to go to the dentist? Could you imagine what that would look like if you were like, man, I get to go to the dentist and get my teeth cleaned? Could you imagine a life where you're like, oh, I get to do my homework? Yes. Man, I get to go to school and learn from teachers. Even though some of them might be jerks, you get to go and learn. What if you had a life where you lived, or a mindset that you lived, where you're like, man, I get to come to Ignite on Wednesday night. Man, I get to eat food that's maybe not my favorite, but I get to still eat. Because guess what? There are people in this world on the same planet that we live on that would love to go to the dentist and have their teeth cleaned. Because they're in parts of the world where they don't have dentists. There's people in the world who would love to be able to go to school as just a thing that just happens, because there's places in the world where there isn't education, probably for people your age. There's not an education system. Imagine a place where they wish they could come to Ignite, because to do what we're doing right now is illegal. To gather around a Bible, to like learn more about Jesus in some parts of the world is against the law to do. And we take that for granted. We're like, oh man, I got to go to Ignite again. Like, I got to go there. Oh, I got to go to the dentist. I got to do this. I have to. I have no choice. And yet we live in a place where if we switched our mindset, if we changed the way that we thought about how the world works, if we changed our mindset, I think our entire life could look a little different. If we changed the way we thought about things, we might have a little bit more joy. Because just imagine if you like woke up in the morning, your alarm goes off at whatever time, 6:20, 7:20, 9:30, whatever time your alarm goes off, and all of a sudden you roll out of bed and you're like, you either have a choice, okay? You can either have a get to or a got to attitude. You can roll up and be like, man, I get to wake up right now, and I get to go to school, and I get to learn, and I get to be a part of an amazing education system, and I get to then eat lunch, and then I get to come home, and I get picked up by my parents, who then drive me home, and then I get to be a part of a family, and I get to have a house over my head. Well, not the whole house, just the roof. But you live a life of a get-to attitude, or you get up, beep, 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 beep. I gotta get up. I gotta get out of bed. It's so early. Man, I gotta put on clothes. Like, this is so terrible. I gotta eat breakfast. Oh man, there's no more Pop-Tarts here. My parents never spend money on getting the good stuff. I gotta eat bagels. Oh, but they're not even the good cream cheese. I gotta just eat a plain bagel. Oh man, I got to ride in my parents' crappy car, but it still runs, but it's just not the newest 2022 Corvette. Like, this sucks. You can have a get-to attitude, and a get-to attitude, we'll get to questions at the end. How about that? So your arms don't get tired. A get-to attitude, I think, is going to bring a lot more joy to your life. Because if you're always living as though you're forced and you have to do these things, your life's going to be miserable, because you're like, I don't have a choice. This isn't what I want to do. Like, I'd rather not. But when we can change our mindset to say, man, I get to do this. And the reason I'm talking about this get to versus got to is all coming to the point of, we want you to invite your friends to come to Ignite next week. And we don't want it to be you leave tonight and you're like, I gotta invite a friend. Caleb asked me to invite a friend. I gotta go and do it. But we want you to have a mindset where you get to say, man, I get to invite someone to come to Ignite. I get to invite my friend, or maybe not even your friend, but the person you sit with at lunch, to come to be a part of this group. Maybe you get to invite your sibling or a cousin, and we want you to have a mindset of, man, I want to invite them because I want them to be a part of this amazing place where people care about you, where people are invested in you, and people show up because they truly love you. I don't want you to go and like, I got to invite somebody. Caleb's going to be mad, and next week he's going to be like, why didn't you invite somebody? I want you to have a mindset of, man, I get to do this. Because here's the deal. Jesus had a get to mindset. See, Jesus' mindset was not got to. Like I had this, I crumpled it a little bit. But Jesus had a mindset of get to. Jesus had a mindset of get to. And what do I mean by that? You see, you and I, we're stuck in sin, right? We do things every day that we shouldn't do. We look at things that we shouldn't look at. We say things that we shouldn't say. We think things that we shouldn't think. We do things that we're not supposed to do. And then there's things that we are supposed to do, but we don't do them. There's things that we probably should say to stick up for other people, but we don't. Like every single day, you and I, we make mistakes. We screw up. We sin, we call that. And we can't get rid of that on our own. But Jesus, God's Son, had a get-to mindset. You see, Jesus came to this planet because he loved you. Jesus, I don't think, came to this planet like 2,000 years ago with this mindset. Oh, are you kidding me? You want me to go down to earth, the big E? Like, you want me to go down to the big E and save them? God, like, wait, what? Like, we're the same person. Like, we're God together. Like, we're the same kind of being. You want me to go down there? You want me to be born you want me to be born? You want me to be like birthed by a human and then be a baby for the next however many years until you're a child? Then you want me to be in my terrible twos, God? Like, you want me to go down and wait. The whole point of this is so that I end up on a cross brutally murdered? Not a chance. I don't think that's how Jesus thought about it. I think Jesus had a get-to mindset. I think Jesus was excited to come to this planet to save you. Now, he wasn't excited to die, right? Nobody's excited to die, especially a painful death on a cross. But Jesus had a mindset of, I love them so much that I am excited to die for them. And we know that that is true because in Hebrews, the book of Hebrews, we don't actually know who wrote it, but in Hebrews chapter 12, it says this: for the joy, J-O-Y, joy, set before him, Jesus, he endured the cross. For the joy set before him, Jesus was filled with joy because he knew that his death on the cross was going to save you. He was excited to die because he loves you that much. And I don't know your home lives. I don't know what kind of background you come from. I don't know what your family's like. I don't know the bad things that you've done. I don't know any of that for some of you. But I do know this. I know that Jesus was excited to die for you because he loves you that much. And if you don't have anyone else in your life that loves you, there's a God in heaven who created you, who loves you. And all that to boot, there's leaders and adults here that love you because they're here tonight. There's people that are here to love you and care for you. So my challenge for you is this upcoming week before next Wednesday, I challenge you to invite someone to come next week. Wednesday, 7 o'clock right here. I challenge you. And if you're like, Caleb, I just don't know how to do that. Like, I don't know how to invite them. Like, it's just kind of a weird conversation. We like to make things simple for people sometimes. We created a little invite for you to hand to people. So before you all go to your small group time, you're going to get an invite, and you get to take that and just literally just be like, here, this is the youth group that I go to. Boom. It has the time. It has everything they need to know right on there. But I encourage you to talk with somebody. Talk with someone, and maybe you're like, man, they don't know Jesus, Caleb. Perfect! That's the people that we want here, is the ones who don't know who Jesus is. Because we want to introduce them to literally the greatest person on the world. The greatest person, Jesus, God's own son, literally died for them. We want to make an introduction to them. So my challenge for you is to invite someone, not out of I got to do it, but out of a, man, I get to do this type attitude. And if you struggle with that, if you wrestle with that, talk to me. Talk to one of the leaders, because guess what? There's days that I wake up that I live a very got to life. I got to go to this meeting. I got to go and do this. I got to send this text. I got to respond to this upset parent. I got to talk to this person. Oh, I got to sit in traffic. Like all that. I'm right there with you. So don't think this is me just like talking at you like, oh, y'all are terrible teenagers. Like, we're in this together. Invite someone next week to come join us, to be a part of something kind of cool. I think this is really amazing. It's awesome to see you all here. So with that being said, we're going to close in prayer right after I take this question from Aldi. Thank you, Aldi, for your patience and your amazingness of sitting there so quietly and waiting to ask your question. Yes, Aldi! Boom. Give her a round of applause, everybody. That's what I'm talking about, Addie. That's super awesome. That's really cool, Addie, for real. That is really amazing. I remember when I was in high school, I did not have that attitude. I was very, very much I got sometimes. So that's really cool. Thank you. Let's pray, and then y'all are going to do some small group time. Dear Jesus, thank you so much for tonight. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your grace. Thank you for your get-to attitude, Jesus, for coming and dying on a cross and saving us. We love you so much, Jesus. We thank and praise you. Be with us. Help us to be bold in sharing your love with those around us. And all God's people said, Amen. Thank you all. Y'all are amazing.